Welcome back to Books and Things with Tom. And this is part two. We just went over part one, discussing the Divinely Touched and with Mary. And now Dr. Dave has also got a book, and we're going to talk about that. And I hope if you have any questions or anything, email me, because I'll be happy to pass them on to either Dr. Dave or Mary and get some answers for you. We were just discussing how many books you've read, which is a couple hundred.
Oh, at least that. That's what we have in here is references for people, the books that helped me through my journey. But more. It's like I used to read a book a day.
It's amazing, because you listed all those books. I thought, I should make a note here, and I go to the back of the book, and I see all the notes back there. And I should point out that you can get the book at Amazon and
Barnes & Noble, or even on our website, Divinely Touched.
Divinely Touched. And you should visit the Divinely Touched website, because there's a lot of information on there, and very interesting. And you're also going to be taking a tour with Dr.
Wayne
Dwyer.
Dyer, yes.
Yep.
And I've read one of his books, and sometimes I just don't want to get into it. But I've read one of his, and Doreen
Virtue.
Doreen Virtue,
Yes.
she's great.
Oh, she's amazing.
And
They both
another one I read was Betty Eady, and Embraced by the Light.
Oh, I love that book.
I wrote
That
to
book
them.
is. Did you?
Yeah,
Really?
her son responded to me, and which I thought was really
Yeah, that book was amazing.
Oh,
Yes.
that was the first book I read, and for those who don't know, Embraced by the Light is, she dies on a table, and she's got like 6 or 7 kids, and she goes to heaven and doesn't want to come back. And they said, no, you can't, you've got to go back. We're not ready for you. But she didn't want to come back. And then she came back and told the story, which a lot of times you don't remember the story. And I think it was according to her that she was allowed to remember the story to tell it.
Yes.
And whereas other people just,
To realize that this is real, this does happen,
Yeah.
this is what it's
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another person that's out actually touring with Dr. Dyer, Anita Morjati,
Yes.
who had a similar experience. And
Dying to Be Me is the
Dying
name
to-
of her
yeah.
book.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We're going to
gonna
be
meet
meeting
her
her
there,
as well
too,
on the
yes.
cruise we're taking in the fall. And she was dying of cancer and was given hours to live. And then had that out-of-body experience, went to heaven and met her guardian angels, and they told her, in fact, that if you go back, you're going to be healed, and you need to help get the message out.
Yeah.
And she's out there, doing that.
how do you find your guardian angels? How do I know who my guardian angel is?
You start connecting and asking and meditating, and then the more you meditate and connect, they will answer you.
Oh,
You
okay.
can even ask for their names, and they'll give you names.
Yeah.
But like anything, it doesn't happen over. It's practice,
Yeah.
like just like anything. You don't know what you know at college when you were in kindergarten. You gotta. It's a journey.
I have so much to do. And that's the problem. I just end up with so little time to do things.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to discuss Dr. Dave's book, Holistic Mental Health. That sounds like a mouthful.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Tom, for having us on your show. And this book kind of evolved from my PhD dissertation, where I was looking at the difference between traditional medications for different mental disorders and alternatives. Because quite often, there's always that controversy. You always hear that, an alternative like St. John's wort, which is a herb, is good for depression, and then you'll hear another report saying, no, it's not that effective. So what I did was I did all the research behind alternatives. My prior background before I got a PhD in actually holistic mental health and right now I work as a psychologist, was a science teacher. So I always had an interest in biochemistry. I taught biology and biochemistry at the high school level. And so I had an interest in like alternatives and health and vitamins and nutrients, things of that nature, because I felt that certainly helped me in my life. So when I pursued my advanced degrees, I kind of combined the science as well as the mental health aspects. And it turned into that book, Holistic Mental Health. I revised it in 2009 after having met Mary, because there's another whole aspect that we talked in the other show about mental illness and mental health and how the spirit dimension could actually affect you. So I added a chapter in this book called on spiritual healing, which is the last chapter, which kind of gets into, and actually was before we wrote Divinely Touched, Transform Your Life. So that's how this book kind of evolved. And this book really is more of a textbook. It does just that. It's all about research between traditional medications, what you would take for things like anxiety or depression, even bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, ADHD, and then alternatives. And what I did was I compared the two, and then I come up with suggestions on the alternative level of what to take and how much to take of different types of vitamins and herbs for things like anxiety and depression. And I talk about the controversy of ADHD, which is another whole subject that I won't dwell too much upon, but you know, I spent the last 20 years working in, as a school psychologist as well. So I had a lot of experience with that. But that's how this book kind of evolved, and it's really more of a textbook on looking at the research.
Wow. That's another deep subject. It's your mental health, and I'm surprised I have one because of the stuff that I went through.
Yeah.
But I think it's just people don't understand or appreciate mental health. There's a lot of people, it's just a little off and need some help. I know a couple of schizophrenic people, and one of the guys will go by, he's swearing and cussing, blah, 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 and I say, hey, how you doing? He stops and looks at me and goes, good, how are you? And then just continues walking, no more talking to him, so, because I interrupted him. And it works.
Yeah.
For a while. I mean, it's not
Well,
pure.
that's a great point, Tom, because, you know, on the spiritual healing chapter I have in this book, again, which is a prelude to Divinely Touch, we talk about the difference between psychosis and psychotic. Psychotic and psychic.
Yes.
Psychosis and psychotic, same thing. Being difference between being psychic and psychotic, because a lot of the psychics we've met were in mental institutions. You know, they grew up, you know, talking to spirits, connecting with deceased relatives, and their families put them away, or you know, thought they were crazy, or put them on drugs.
Something wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, what's the difference? And we really feel that people that have schizophrenia are really connecting to that veil, and that's kind of what Mary went through, and what you described on your previous show. All of that, you know, and again, we've met a lot of psychics that grew up and they were misunderstood, and not until they were adults and they were more grounded did they realize that they had these gifts, that they could connect with the spirit dimension, and they weren't crazy. You know, they were really seeing people that were deceased. They were really talking to them.
Yeah, because every once in a while, like, you read about a child that's talking to his grandmother or grandfather, and their parents going, don't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
Because they might think you're nuts.
Well, children especially, they're so connected because they haven't been programmed like we have as we get older that that's not real, you can't do that. They're very wide open. They're still close to that dimension because they haven't, you know, their ego hasn't come in to play, and it's like, oh, this isn't right, I shouldn't be doing this. So
There was a child, 6, 7 years old, just a year or so ago, the Seventh Heaven or something. They had a movie about him.
oh, yes, Heaven is for Real.
Heaven is for Real.
for
That's
Real.
right. Yeah.
Another great book and movie. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And the
But-
parents couldn't believe him at first either.
No.
But then, see, as time goes on, universe backs you.
Well, he had an out-of-body experience,
That's
like
what it was, yeah.
a near-death experience, where people actually, their consciousness leaves their body and goes to the spirit dimension. And there's been several books, you know, recently talking about that. But if you actually, in Divinely Touched, I go through all that historical research about that. There's tons of books out there where people talk about out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences. Matter of fact, Jeffrey Long wrote a book in 2010, Evidence of Afterlife. The Evidence of Afterlife is the name of his book, and he has 1,600 accounts of people having out-of-body experiences, these near-death experiences. So there's a lot of evidence, a lot of research and data out there about those types of phenomena.
Did you see the latest TV show called Proof?
We saw that the other night, you know, and
it's so funny you said that.
dragged Mary, I
Yes,
sat Mary down and said,
yes.
watch the show. Because, you know, again, here's, you know, all they have to do is read that book, Evidence of Afterlife, and, you know, that would solve it. But then they wouldn't have a TV show.
That's right.
So the proof is about these doctors trying to convince or doing research about, you know, connecting to the spirit dimension. Because one of the people on their research team died and was hooked up to this
Yeah,
brain scan.
that was strange.
That was in, he was having
see
all these
everything.
visions when he died of the spirit dimension. But, you know, again, there's a lot of research out there, a lot of information, even over the last 100 years of authors talking about near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, and even astral projection, which is the willful transmitting your consciousness out of your body. That goes back the last 100 years. A lot of books written by like people like Sylvia Muldoon. Again, we reference all that type of information in Divinely Touched.
You have more reference material in there than
Yeah.
and the pictures of the different people you spoke
Yes.
to.
So
Yeah.
that this is real, and if you need help,
Yeah.
there's help available
Yeah.
for you. You do not have to go the traditional way, which is just like a Band-Aid. You never. This truly, what I went through, will heal you, heal your soul at every level, from past lives, this life, and for your future lives. A medicine from a doctor is never going to do that.
Yeah.
It's just a Band-Aid to keep you functioning in life. But this takes you to a higher level when you
Yeah.
when you get into energy healings.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for energy healings, it totally transformed and saved my life. I probably would not be here right now.
And that's one thing we talk about, Mary's dealing with energy healing and all the different types of modalities she studied.
Right,
Would
I
you talk-
studied reflexology, then I studied some shamanism, Reiki, and now I do reconnective energy healing. I went to Arizona and studied with Dr. Eric Pearl. Again, he was a doctor, didn't believe in this stuff until his patients, they were getting miraculously healed and he wasn't even touching them. He'd be sitting at his desk and they could feel his hands on them, which led him on his own journey to discover what is going on here. Now he doesn't do any more chiropractic. All he does is teach this all over the world, and
Wow.
it's life transforming.
And that's reconnective.
Reconnective energy healing. It's called the reconnection.com if you want to look up about it. And I went and studied with them of how to do this. And what this does is it has cured incurable diseases such as AIDS just by shifting your energy. AIDS, fibromyalgia, cerebral palsy,
Cancer.
and cancer.
Wow.
Big thing that is cured. In
And-
fact, I even had a client. The doctors gave him 3 months to live. I did a few healings on him. He was in his 70s. He had prostate cancer. His doctors gave him a few months to live. I did a couple healings on him. Totally cured. He's still living today.
Now, you just said that you have a client. Do you do individual?
Yes, yes, I
So
do.
you see
One-on-one.
people
Yes,
individually?
yes.
Yeah,
And I also can do long distance healings also.
Yeah,
I'm
really?
into the, yes, I do that
Yeah,
also.
on our website it goes into everything that Mary does.
Oh, okay.
And again, you know, reconnective healing is using these energy frequencies around the body. And again, this is all related to our investigation in, you know, energy outside the body. You know, whether it be entities or out-of-body experiences or your consciousness traveling from lifetime to lifetime. It's all energy outside the body. And that's what Mary does. She uses these energy fields outside the body and just kind of waves her hands around using those energy fields. And she's had some miraculous healings and cures. And we have a whole page of testimonies on our website of the things she's cured and,
And then-
people she's healed.
And Dr. Dave explains why and how energy healings affect us. And in addition to not only physical healing it does life transformation of, it puts you on your life's path, what you're really here to do, what you incarnated for, at a very accelerated rate. I mean, when I had this done, instantly things started changing in my life.
Wow. Yeah, because now you're on a good path.
Oh, yes, yes.
And,
What I'm
uh,
really here to do, where I
yeah.
wasn't before. So all that other stuff was prior to get me on the path
Yeah.
and get into this, because this is what's going to transform everyone's life. This is the way of the future. I mean, it's the ancient ways are back now.
Yeah.
We've given our power to technology, but that we are nature. We aren't chemicals. And the only thing that's going to really heal us is nature itself, which is energy and herbs and the natural.
Yep.
How did
Yep.
we survive thousands of years ago before we had drugs and
That's
You know,
right.
really,
I
how do
watched
we do
Tuck
it?
the other night, and they're mixing up all these drugs
Yes,
and stuff.
herbs
all
and
natural,
yes,
all
all
herbs,
natural.
yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, in our book, I go through the history of energy healing as well. And this goes back to as far as recorded time goes, as far as energy healing. I mean, one of the greatest healers of all time, Jesus, used, in fact, energy healing himself, and he said,
These things that I do, you can do also.
European kings were noted for their healing abilities up until the year 1831. With King William IV, I believe, stopped doing energy healings. But for 1,000 years, kings were noted for their laying on hands abilities. So all these different modes of different types of energy healings, we talk about, how that evolved too. And what Mary does is a hands-off technique. Most men say that's unfortunate, but it's again, using these energy fields around the body.
Yeah.
Because, she studied reflexology. American Indians have a form of reflexology they used to conduct, again, using pressure points in the hands, which evolved to things like acupuncture and acupressure by the Chinese going back 5,000 years ago. But again, she studied reflexology, Reiki, shamanism, which again is using a lot of different types of tools. And she had lots of different healings by all these different people.
Huh. But if anybody wants to an appointment with you, can go on the website.
Yes, yes.
And the
Go on and
website.
read all about it, the testimonies and what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's all
In
there.
fact, there's a few weeks ago, she had a distance healing of a woman that was going to have her toe amputated because of an infection.
She had an ulcer.
Ulcer.
It was going down to her bone,
Oh.
and it wouldn't heal. And I did a few long-distance healings on her, and when she went to the doctor had surgery scheduled for Friday. She went to the doctor Monday. He was like in shock. He goes, cancel the surgery, it's all healed.
Oh my God.
So stopped her from having her toe amputated.
Wow. Huh.
It's amazing.
I got a bad knee.
Oh, I'd love to do an energy healing on you.
Wow. So between the two books, and again, both on Amazon and both on your website, and Barnes and Noble.
BarnesandNoble.com,
Barnes and Noble. And are they in ebooks too, or?
Yep, they're Divinely Touches ebook. I don't believe Holistic Mental Health is ebook recently.
That's cool. And you ready to write your next book?
Well, we've started it.
Have
We've
you?
started it, yes, yes, as our journey continues.
Yeah, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, what happened after you were healed?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last few years we've been touring and doing seminars and workshops, and like I said, we have an exciting trip coming up with Wayne Dyer in October. So we want to continue our journey and talk about that, and talk a lot about the things that Mary's done as well in our next book.
Well, I think it's just mind-boggling, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the show and let people know what's going on. Because like we were saying, there are some people out there just not real, and they'll just
Right.
take your money and that's it.
Yep.
So you really got to be careful. But you list off the names in the books of people who are real.
Yes. The-
And if you're
how to
really
get in touch
interested,
with them. Yeah, anything
gotta
that
buy the
resonates
book.
with you. Yeah.
Well, the point actually of both books is to help people. I wrote this book as a resource to help people with that didn't want to take medications, because medications always have side effects, and I don't believe in take this pill for life like most doctors will tell you. So I talk about the alternatives, and then with this one, which we talk, goes from, this is more the physical healing. Divinely Touch gets into the spiritual healing as well as physical, but it also is a resource that teaches people about things like metaphysics and New Age, and how our consciousness is eternal, that we go from lifetime to lifetime. And it really puts, we say transform your life because it puts your life in perspective as to why we're here, why things happen to us. So it goes beyond just healing in the physical standpoint. It goes into the spiritual healing, which, again, Mary was dragged into, and it wasn't really her intent, but everything we know, everything happens for a reason, and that's why we've written these books, and that's why we're together, and that's our message.
Yeah, because you were actually just kind of thrown together and said, you two are going to do good.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing every time we go to a psychic, and whether I'm there or not, I mean, the psychics say, "Wow, it's amazing how compatible you two are, and the journey you're on." And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and
you can
she's
see
had
that.
a
In
lot
fact,
of.
in fact, one psychic said, talk about past lives, said that we were brother and sister in another life.
Really?
And then we were best friends in the military in another life.
Oh, wow.
So you keep growing together each time in different forms,
Yeah.
but the same souls travel together to help each other learn and grow.
I went to a psychic who told me that in the year 2020, I think 2020, I would see my son again as my great-grandson.
Yes,
And I thought,
totally.
okay, I'm going to wait for that one.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, that's what happens,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, the only thing is my grandson's only 20 years old, and I really don't want to stop it. So, but if it does, it
It's
does.
meant to be, was meant to be.
Yeah.
It's in
Yeah,
a few years. Yeah.
yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. He said some other stuff too that that I believed, and but you really got to be careful with these psychics. 'Cause, boy, they can bilk you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
take your money and make you.
All the ones in our book are for real.
For real.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're so specific.
Yeah.
People are like, how would they ever know this?
'Cause there's
Yeah.
a lot
Yes.
that did not make our
My
book.
book, right.
Yeah,
That
I
we-
Because
read that.
the-
Maybe,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's one up in Norwich, Pat Gagliano, I think her name is, and I went to her, and she's very interesting because you just call her up, you don't leave a name or anything, just you go up and see her and paid $100. But it was just, she told me stuff about who my son was with now in the afterlife, and things about my father and stuff. And I'm like, wow. But she was also instrumental a number of years ago with the serial killings that we had around here.
Wow.
And she went out and helped them find bodies.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so people like that, a
Tell
little
they're
more
for real,
expensive,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then since we've written this book a few years ago, we've met a lot more people that will be in our
Second
next
book, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so
That's a
it's
lot
amazing.
around.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So the journey continues.
That's cool. And holistic healing is a big thing now, too. And
Yes,
it's-
people want to get away from the drugs because so many drugs have side effects.
Absolutely.
It's helping one thing, but it's tearing you down in another way. Where
Yeah.
natural stuff, there's no side effects.
Right.
It's really here to make you whole.
Yeah, one point when Mary came out of the hospital, she could hardly stand. She was on so many medications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so we quickly stopped that.
Yeah.
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 And I've had so many people on the show that holistic healings and different different herbs and spices, and it's interesting how many different things are out there. And I had read once that there is nothing that you need that isn't here on the earth.
That's true.
Right.
That's
It
so
doesn't
true.
grow on the earth.
Right. Nature takes care of itself.
Yeah.
When one with nature.
And
Yeah.
if we stop killing her, we'd be better off.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our
it's so
seminars,
toxic.
I do kind of the history of medicine, and it all started out good in natural, whereas aspirin was discovered in around the year 1900 and first synthesized into a pill form, actually by Bayer. And then after that, antibiotics came out, and that was good. It saved thousands of lives. Penicillin, things like that, cures for polio. But then we became too dependent upon the medications to solve everything, and that's where the psychotropic drugs really are doing in a lot of cases more harm than good. Because the people become so dependent upon it, and they live their life in a fog. It's where there's natural things they could take, and as well as putting their life in perspective, which is what Divinely Touch will do, put your life and journey in perspective as to why we're here and why things are happening to avoid depression. But then there's also, natural things you can take that do just as good as the medications without the side effects.
I think I find that there's several pills that I was taking, and I looked them up, and 2 of them were giving me leg spasms. And I read that, and then it also had a couple other things wrong, and I said, I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I went back to the doctor, and he said, are you still taking these here? And I said, no. Why not? I said, I told him, Well, if they get better, then maybe you shouldn't be on the pill, but if they don't, take the pills. And, well, I never took them again.
Yeah, no. Every time we hear those drug commercials come on TV, I tell them, are they serious? Like, stop this medication if death occurs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the side effects. That's one of the side effects. You know, stroke or death may occur.
And this is a curious stomach ache. But if you get another stomach ache, don't take it anymore.
Right.
It's amazing.
ridiculous.
I don't understand. But they have to give you all those things. And people still go out and buy the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
Well, again, you know, doctors are trained in one avenue. That's not the only avenue out there.
yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, you know, most people don't explore the other avenues like we have.
We got a couple of minutes left. Anything else you want to discuss?
I think, you know, again, thanks for the plug with our website, divinelytouched.com, talks about both books and talks about what we do. Also, you know, the different seminars we do and where we're going. So, you know, if anybody has any questions or needs to get in touch with me or Mary, you know, all our contact information is there as well.
And if you can't remember that, check mine, and you can get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to pass any information on to let them know. Now, do you have any seminars locally or coming up? Or?
Well, we're looking forward to going on that tour with Dr. Dyer in October. Right now, we're in transition. We're moving to Florida, around the Palm Beach area, so we'll be doing lots of seminars locally down there in that region probably this winter.
Well, it's too bad. We're going to miss you.
We'll be back and forth because we have a lot of family here, so
okay.
we'll be
Yeah.
back and forth a lot.
Yeah, so.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, the half hour goes by so quickly. And we got one more week of July. Speaking of going by quickly. I said before, please come to the Colchester Festival on the Green Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's going to be over 50 vendors there. It's the Colchester Historical Society putting it on, I believe. And I will be there in a tent. So come on down and say hello, and maybe you can buy a book. I'll have 2 books there. Thank you for continuing watching and sending in emails. I appreciate it. Coming up next month now is Tish Rabe, who writes Cat in the Hat book, Mystic Organics, and you're going to learn about inhaling oxygen. Actually, I have an oxygen bar, and you inhale
I've
different
been to
kinds of
those.
oxygen.
This is wonderful.
I said, wow.
Wonderful.
I've never heard of it.
Pure clear oxygen. Yes, they're
But
wonderful.
people go in and buy it.
Yeah.
Go outside. Special thank you to the SEC TV for hosting the show. And check out their website, www.sec-tv.org. And on there, you'll be able to see the spot to click on for all the YouTube programs, which is a number of them that you can watch now. And if you want to see any of my shows, go to Books and Things with Tom on the internet, and it'll pull up all these shows that we have on the YouTube. And tonight we got Chowder and Clanford is on at the VFW for free if you buy a drink. And it could be a soda, which is what I usually get. And on Saturday, we have a lobster bash. And come on down. It's going to be a tremendous thing with dining and dancing later. And I'd like to thank you for watching this. It's great. Really appreciate it. You should be reading. Cuddle up with a good book. And especially lately with the air conditioner on. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
We're having
Thank
fun.
you.